I'll never forget my first visit to Ireland to meet my yet-to-be wife's family. And we went to visit some cousins, and there at the cousins we started looking at some photos on a laptop. Photos of an unmarked grave in the middle of nowhere, under a tree. I had much to learn. Coming from England, I couldn't really trace my family tree much beyond my granny, but here were people interested in an unmarked grave in the middle of nowhere, because ancestors matter in Ireland. And they mattered in the 1st century in the Middle East. It turns out that the person under that tree may have had some relation to Neil Armstrong. And here's someone you'd want to include in your family tree to say, look, our ancestors, they landed on the moon. We're related to people like that. Well, Matthew begins his gospel by tracing the genealogy of Jesus Christ back over 40 generations. And the CV, the genealogy, the family tree, was a bit like today's CV. It was a way of saying, this is who I am. This is where I come from. And you were to impress people with the sort of quality of the stock that you came from. And here in Matthew's Gospel, well, there are some impressive people, people like Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and David and Solomon. But then there's also those that you would have thought might have been left out, might have been embarrassed about. He includes 5 women, and we might not think much of that, but at the time when he was writing, women were virtually never included in such lists. But Matthew names 5 women, and some of them weren't even thoroughly Israelite women. There were people like Rahab and Ruth, people with shady backgrounds, and yet they're included in this list. Here they are in Jesus' family tree. By listing them, Matthew is saying Jesus is not ashamed to be linked to these people. Jesus Christ brings in people that were excluded. That's a great thing if you're someone that feels a little bit on the fringe of things. Jesus won't be put off by your background. And it's a challenge to us as we consider mission. And we think, who should we reach? Well, we should reach all kinds of people from all kinds of places. But it's not just those who feel excluded and who are on the fringe of things who need Jesus. Even the most celebrated and religious of people need Jesus. Listen to who Matthew introduces us to in verse 6. Jesse, the father of David, the king. Well, there's someone you'd want included in your family line. But look what we're told next. We're told this. David was the father of Solomon by the wife of Uriah. Why not just mention her name? Why not just say Bathsheba? Well, Matthew is forcing us to remember the account of David and Bathsheba, where David stole Uriah's wife and had her husband murdered. David was about the best king that there was, and yet even he was a moral failure. Why is Matthew telling us this? Well, because here is a new beginning. That's what you get with a genealogy, a new beginning, and it's good news for all kinds of people. People who are blow-ins, people who are excluded by others because of their background, they can be brought in because of Christ. And everyone, even the most deeply religious, can only be brought in because of Jesus Christ. There's no one, not even the greatest king in Israel like David, there's no one who does not need the grace of Jesus Christ. He is the only one who can save us from the punishment our sins deserve. You know, it's great to know where you're from. If I'm honest, I wish I could trace back a little bit further. But you know what's even more important? To be a part of Jesus' family. To know that you're loved no matter what your background. To know you're loved and accepted no matter what your pedigree. It's not because of your performance, but because of Jesus' performance. To know a love that will never end. Being connected to Jesus doesn't only give us a past, but a glorious future. What a blessing to belong to King Jesus. And here is a blessing to share with your neighbour and with the nations.